everyone, so before we begin this video, I just want to give a quick warning and some caution before you move forward. If you don't want to hear this, definitely skip to the first chapter. That's where this video will begin. But throughout this video, there was a lot of times that I was recording this that I misunderstood some safety features on the Must-Start Portable Level 2 charger that I was not familiar with because I have no engineering or electrical background. I pretty much only have my personal experience of EV ownership as well as from a sales perspective. So a lot of the technical terms really just goes right over my head. And so throughout this video, I wanted to provide caution that there might be a little bit of misinformation and lead this video in letting you guys know that the Must-Start Portable Level 2 charger is super smart. And it definitely was operator error. So just a heads up, as you're watching this, you're going to witness some frustrations on my end, and it's not the charger. It's me. Hey everyone, welcome back to Everyday EV. We're back at it again. It's the beginning of the summer season. It's Memorial Day weekend, and we are heading up to South Haven, Michigan to go to Gingerman Raceway. So this is the start of summer EV road trips. We have a few planned out for the summer, and this is the first one. So let's get started. And similar to last year, this is going to be a vlog style video. So it's raining, got our umbrella, and let's head out. So Gingerman Raceway is about 250 plus miles away from the Cleveland area. We have about 2 charge stops that we are stopping at, both Electrify America, one in Ypsilanti, Michigan, and then the other in Kalamazoo. And what's going to be really cool about this trip is that we are going to be able to utilize our Must-Start portable charger at a NEMA 630 plug. We have an adapter that we're going to use, so we're going to do some EV camping. Okay, so we made it to the Ypsilanti EA charger, and I gotta tell you, I have never driven that low on a state of charge before. Let me show you guys what I'm seeing right now. So about 5 miles back, it literally dropped to low, and it was screaming at me that propulsion was lowered and everything, and I did not think I was going to make it. So I'm gonna plug in, and we'll do a quick summary of the first leg of the trip. Oh man. This trip is already going smoothly. Yeah, so I wasn't expecting to hit that low. It definitely surprised me. I have never driven it that low. Like, I've been close to that, but I've never had it where it like literally limited my propulsion or how much electricity I could put towards the motors to drive. The car was so sluggish. It was crazy. I didn't think that I was going to make it to these stations behind me. Fortunately, I did. But the nice thing is that the one thing we learned is that when electric vehicles do get low on a state of charge, the vehicle is smart enough to limit some of the features. It will do things like turn off the radio, the heat, the touchscreen, things of that nature. It's also about 45 to 50 degrees, so external temperature is really impacting the range as well. Not to mention Michigan speeds are about 70 miles on average, or 70 miles per hour on average. So things move pretty quick up here. But the next leg is we are going to Kalamazoo to another EA station where hopefully it will be easier to work than these ones, and then get enough charge to get us to Gingerman where we'll be using our Must-Start charger. So just a quick background story. We have been to this charger, this is our second time here in Ypsilanti, and I have to say, based on that complaint that I made, this is not my favorite location. There used to be a Walmart behind me, and it's no longer there. And when Electrify America was first putting charging stations in, they were doing it at Walmart across the country. Well, now that there's not one here, there's really not many things to do or explore while you're charging your vehicle. You have a Popeyes and you have an Ollie's and a few other stores, but the Ollie's, if you do have to use the restroom and you are charging here, they do have a public restroom. Popeyes is locked for some reason, not really sure why. But as I mentioned, I really do like to test the limits of our vehicle. It definitely was almost awakening when I saw the vehicle was about to run out of But as I mentioned, I absolutely love to test the limits of my Bolt EV. I will say I was a little bit surprised that I did drop the state of charge so low, and I will be truthfully honest because I like to be honest with you guys. I honestly didn't think I was going to make it to the charger. I don't know exactly what the limit is when it says low. I know that there is a remaining state of charge on the vehicle that allows you to continue driving just for a few more miles. It's kind of similar to what it would be like if you ran low on gas, but the thing is that I don't know how many miles that is. So I did panic a little bit. The range anxiety was true. I thought for sure we were gonna have to call a tow truck and get the car here. Fortunately, that was not the case, and we were able to make it to this charger where the charging station is actually doing really well. But I would say, if Electrify America is watching this video, I really hope the future stations you're putting in are in better locations, because this one has nothing around here. Yeah. So, but yeah, so that's it. So I'm going to let my vehicle charge. I'm going to find a place to eat, and once we get going, I'll definitely check in with you guys. So the car is nice and toasty. We are about, I would say, 76%. We're almost to 80% charge, which then I will let it charge a little bit further so we can get to Kalamazoo, where we'll stop and charge again. But just a quick update, this cost so far has been, let me go to the EA app. Let's see how much this costs. So Electrify America, depending on the state, there are some regulations that determines if you can charge or pay by the kilowatt hours delivered to your vehicle or by the charging minute. And here in Michigan, it looks like we are being charged by the kilowatt hour. And the mobile application will update in real time based on your navigation. So far, I have been sitting here for about, I would say maybe 50 minutes, and it has cost us about $13.95. Not bad. So we have made it to the Portage, Michigan Electrify America charging stations. There is a really nice Mach-E charging right now, absolutely beautiful. And it's in this really nice Sam's Club parking lot. And the charger worked kind of right away. We had to restart the charger twice before it started working, and it is still pretty cold out here. So I'm gonna get inside and get charged, but it's been a pretty long day, and I'll give you guys a recap. So we are officially at, I don't even know, I think like 34%. We'll just say that. We started with 21%. But we are pulling about 40 kilowatts, and we have the heat on high because it is about 48 degrees here. And as you can see, we have about 54 miles of state of charge. Gingerman is about 36 miles. Is that what you said?
31 miles.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So we're just going to charge to above 50% and get to Gingerman. So just a quick heads up. There was a bit of a time period today where I was not recording because Tyler was working on his Miata at one of our friends' shop near Ypsilanti, Michigan. So we got finished at Ypsilanti around maybe like 12:15 with charging, and we headed over to Chris's and Kasha's shop, and we were there for about pretty much the entire day. We were definitely there for a very long time, and that's why it is now 9:40 at night. So we haven't been charging pretty much all day, and I can tell you these chargers are working fast. So if you think that we've been sitting in a charger literally since 12:30, that's not the case. I just suck at knowing what to record, and
my car took forever to fix.
Yeah, that's what you get when you work on a 30-year-old plus car. Yeah. You discover things as you work on them. Yeah. But hey, we got to talk about content production, so that was productive.
That was productive.
Yeah, and you worked really hard on your car.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and it's all in one piece.
Which is good.
Because
you're driving it right now.
Yep.
It wouldn't be good if you were just driving a tire or something like that? No.
Although now I feel like my hearing's going out.
Your hearing?
It's so loud.
Oh, you wanna know what's not loud?
What, this car?
An electric car.
Electric car? Race car, that's why it's so loud.
Yeah, exactly. We'll get another electric car. Maybe that Mach-E over there.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Our ID4 is on its way. So.
Yes. Well, we will check in just a little bit whenever we do get to Gingerman. I think it's only like 40 minutes away. It's not too bad.
A little less than that,
Yeah,
It's not
and
too bad.
we got to set up the tent and probably get to bed around 11:30ish.
Probably.
Yeah, we'll be tired. But I'll check back in with you guys whenever we get there. Hey everyone, just touching base. It is now the morning time, and as you can hear from the background sound, there's a lot of vehicles here on the track at Gingerman. It's a busy morning with AutoInterests, but it's a fun day. So I just wanted to provide a quick update. Last night, we were not prepared that the temperatures were going to drop as far as they had. Last night it dropped about 33 degrees and we were absolutely not prepared for that. It is freezing. I have 2 hoodies on and just a ton of different layers, but I'll have to show you guys what we did in order to get through the night because it was pretty bad. Couldn't feel my legs. So unlike the Teslas that have camp mode, the Bolt does not. However, we made a makeshift tent out of the Bolt and left the heat running all night. Just laid back the front seats and just did our best. And to be honest, it actually worked fairly well. I was pretty impressed with it. So now another thing that we could not get working is our must-start portable charger that we've been testing. I was really hoping to do that, but there are no NEMA 1450s here or 50 amp breakers. There are only 30 amp breakers here, and we had to borrow an adapter from our friend and it did not work. The charger just did not turn on. So sadly, we have to use our portable level 1, which is taking a very long time. This is our current setup. We have our tent right there and we have our level 1 plugged in. Sadly, we cannot charge faster than that, but it's doing the trick, and hopefully by tomorrow night, it should be good to go. And if you're wondering what adapter I was trying to use, it is a NEMA 1450 to the 30 amp breaker, and for whatever reason it just does not work. I'm wondering if it's because the must start is rated for 40 amps and that's all it can pull. It cannot fluctuate, even though I thought it could, but maybe that's why, or maybe the adapter is dead. Not really sure. Now, fortunately tonight I did buy some warmer sleeping bags, so we'll probably end up sleeping in the back of the Bolt possibly, or back in the tent. I'm hoping we'll end up in the tent, that way the car can charge, because it takes an immense amount of energy to run the heat all night. I would say we started at about 50% last night when we got in the car, ran the heat for about 2 hours, and it dropped a decent amount. So another cool thing about Gingerman is that they actually have 2 Tesla destination chargers. So from my understanding, I actually believe the owners of this racetrack have a few Teslas, and they've been Tesla drivers pretty much since like 2013, 2014. So the fact that they offer this to drivers is pretty exciting. So if you are looking to get on a racetrack and charge your Tesla, make sure you come here, because there's plenty of options to charge. Hey everyone, just a quick update. It is Sunday afternoon and I am relaxing. If you can't tell, I've got a lot of sunburn and my voice is a little bit hoarse because we've been camping outside in about 33 to 40 degree weather at night, and we got these really nice sleeping bags to keep us warm. But it has been a fun and busy, productive weekend here at Gingerman with AutoInterests. Been taking a lot of good photos, getting some good practice with my new camera, just having fun. You know, this is what EV road trips are all about, and I'm definitely grateful that you guys have joined me with this journey. So tomorrow morning we are leaving around 7 a.m., 7:30 to head back to Cleveland. We're going to be stopping at an EA station near Tiffin, Ohio, and then we will be stopping at another Electrify station in Sheffield Lake, Ohio, on the west side of Cleveland, just to make sure we have enough to get back to our house. The Bolt has been doing really well. However, we couldn't level 2 charge here, so we had to charge off of the portable charger the car comes with, and that is taking a very long time. So we are making sure that we are going to have enough to stop if it was warmer, and fortunately it's going to be sunny on the way home, so we shouldn't worry about too much bad weather. But hopefully we'll be able to get some decent range out of the car tomorrow. But the trip up here was rough, so we're not going to push it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to check back in with you guys tomorrow morning. Enjoy the rest of the night here in South Haven, Michigan. It's absolutely beautiful. If you haven't yet, make sure you definitely check it out. I think there's a few destination chargers in the downtown area, but there's just a lot of cute restaurants, a lot of local shops, and the pier is absolutely stunning. Make sure you definitely get a chance to check it out because it's really worth it. The one cafe I would recommend is Cafe Julia. They have great drinks, great pastries, just a really overall good vibe. Definitely make sure you check them out. Hey, good morning everyone. It is now Monday morning, Memorial Day, and we are still at Gingerman, waking up, getting ready to head out. And I wanted to show you guys our charging setup because we couldn't get the portable level 2 that Must Start sent to me to work because we were trying to charge on a RV 30 amp charger, and apparently that doesn't work. So I will show you guys. If anybody knows of, some adapters that we can get to utilize these 30 amp breakers, that would be fantastic. Definitely, because owning a non-Tesla electric vehicle, well, I guess EVs in general, it's good to be prepared whenever you're going on trips, and that was definitely my fault. I did not check if they had NEMA 1450s, and they don't anywhere on the property, so just be prepared if you are coming up here. As I mentioned, they have Tesla destination chargers, and there are adapters that you can get for those, but just if you can't get them, just be prepared whenever you come. So unplug, and we're going on our way. Okay, so we made it to the Portage County EA stations. Our Bolt's charging, but look what we stumbled upon. These are hybrids, but they're putting in, I think it's right there, right? Oh, it's right over there. There's a solar panel showroom coming. They're called Climax Solar, which is actually really cool. They have a whole bunch of trailers over there. Not really sure, I've never heard of them since they're from Michigan, but they have a 25-year warranty. Check them out. So we have officially made it to the Electrify America station here near Tiffin, Ohio. I think, is this Tiffin? I don't know where we're at. Trying to get you in the frame. So this is at a rest stop, and I believe that this is actually one of the first Electrify America stations here in Ohio. And it's working pretty well. There's about 8 stalls, I think. Let's see. No, 5. I'm just kidding, I can count. There's 5 stalls, and there's a mixture of 150 and 350, kind of standard with Electrify America. But the one thing I do want to mention that we've noticed on this trip is that the 350 kilowatt charging stations have not been able to start with our Bolt, but the 150 kilowatts are starting like right away. We've had a lot of success with them over the 350s. So not exactly sure if Electrify America changed the software or what's happening, but it definitely seems to be more successful. So we're charging at max rate. We saw about 55 kilowatts, and the Bolt's doing pretty good on this road trip. So just a quick recap of this trip so far. We left South Haven, Michigan, or the Gingerman Raceway, with about 95%, and we made it to Portage, Michigan, and we just topped off. We added about 5% just so we could be sure that we could make it down to Ohio, and we got here at about, I would say, about 30%. So we're doing pretty good. The weather's good. It's a lot warmer. There's a lot less wind, and it's a lot less rain as well. So the car is driving more efficient. When we get back to the house, I will definitely do a recap of this trip because we are also going to go check out a 2022 Chevy Bolt EV at Sunnyside Chevrolet. Pretty excited about that. Hey everyone, so we are finally home. We just made it back after probably a 6.5 hour drive. We had a really good trip back. We stopped at the Sheffield Lake Electrify America charging station. We got to see a 2022 Bolt EV, got to sit in it, and I'll tell you what, our 2019 does not compare. GM did a fantastic job with the interior, and I'm pretty excited to get a chance to test drive that and make a video for you guys. Okay, and to wrap this all up, let's talk about efficiency. So I reset my tripometer before we left. So this is the full round trip. We drove about 665.1 miles, and we averaged 3.5 miles per kilowatt hour. Now, honestly, I will say that is pretty good. Obviously, you know, on the trip up there, we ran into the rain. It was cold, windy, so that was not the most efficient trip. In fact, I think we were seeing about maybe 2.7 miles per kilowatt hour, so it definitely was not the best. But the trip back with the warmer weather, that definitely increased our efficiency, so I'll take it. That's pretty good. That's roughly about 200 miles on a full charge. Now keep in mind, we are also not charging to 100% because we can only charge till 95% until we get that software removed from the vehicle. And now over here, this is today's trip. So this involves charging as well as other things that the state of charge was going towards. So like, you know, driving accessories, climate settings, you know, all that fun stuff. So today we drove 322.7 miles and we used about 85.7 kilowatt hours. So we pretty much used a pack and then some based on our charging. As you can see, there was no battery conditioning involved since it was a decent day, and only 1% of my driving went towards the climate, and then the rest went towards the actual driving. So I would say a pretty efficient day. So I'm going to plug in the vehicle into our level 2 home charger for the night since I have to return to the office, and let's do a quick recap of the trip. So we have officially made it home, and as I mentioned, I wanted to do a quick recap on some pros, some cons, and some things that I learned on this weekend trip, because I definitely picked up a lot of new knowledge on electric vehicle charging, and just a lot of new experiences that I thought I was familiar with that I'm not. And that's okay, you know, you gotta learn something new every day. So I apologize about the bad lighting. I figured since this is a vlog style and we are unpacking right now, just make it a little bit more personal. I didn't have a chance to really set up my lights or anything, but so, you know, for this ending part of the video, I wanted to talk about some things that I learned and some pros and cons of the trip. So the first thing that I learned that was a con of the trip is never to assume that you are going to have charging available. And the reason I say this is that I thought I was prepared and I assumed for the worst. I was emailing the maintenance group at Gingerman and they mentioned that they have electricity available. And I thought because the typical standard for campgrounds is an NEMA 1450 or a 50 amp breaker, not thinking that they have an older standard, which is a 30 amp breaker set to what I think is like a TT30. I believe that's what Kim on Twitter mentioned to me. I'll put a little snippet of our Twitter chat right here. But basically what this is that is an old RV standard, and it was something that I thought that I could utilize an adapter for with our must-start portable level 2 charger. Thought that it could be a good chance to do a product review, especially since we were camping, get the vehicle charged up, and so forth. Well, I was outsmarted both in the fact that the must-start portable charger has a protection for overcurrent, which I was not familiar with at all until I posted about my experience on Twitter. Apparently, overcurrent is a protection where if there's a drop in amperage, it will protect both devices in order to, I believe, restrict any burning or potential chance of a fire or risk of a fire. So the must-start portable level 2 charger has that, and I did not realize that. I always thought that it could be smart enough, or at least that was my assumption, that it was smart enough to drop the amperage. Turns out that there are safety features that regulate that. And that's one thing that as an everyday driver and somebody who has electric vehicle experience, kind of surprised me that I didn't know that. But the thing is that I don't have an engineering background. I don't have any experience with electrical work. And that was one thing that I learned today, is to do your research. But the thing is that a lot of everyday drivers are, one, not interested, and they're not going to do that. And that's one thing that frustrated me about this weekend, is that I thought, based on all my experience with electric vehicle ownership, that I would understand this, and that was not the case. But I always want to be honest with everybody. You know, those are my experiences, and I definitely want to provide genuine and honest experiences with everybody who watches my videos, because it's important. You know, it's important to be genuine, and it's important to display the truth. And going up to South Haven, Michigan was a pure struggle. There was a time where I did not take into consideration realistic exterior temperature, the weather, wind, rain, and the entire trip up to Ypsilanti, where I almost ran out of charge, was based on that. I definitely take blame on that. I probably shouldn't have pushed it as far as I did, but it's a learning experience, and you know what? We got to the charger and we charged, and it definitely was interesting to experience the vehicle when it was at such a low state of charge, because that's something I've never actually gotten a chance to do. So I'll take that as, a grateful opportunity. But the trip up there was probably a con just because of how cold and windy and rainy it was. It was a tough trip. The EA station, the one thing that I picked up on is that it seems like the 350 kilowatt chargers have some type of reliability issue. I'm not exactly sure if it's because of my vehicle can only charge at 50 kilowatts or if it's software based, but it always seemed like those never worked for us. But the 150 kilowatt station started right away. I would say even with a 100% success rate, they did very well. So that's one thing I will say that Electrify America has done a very good job with, is their 150 kilowatt stations. But I don't have a vehicle that can test the higher charging rates of the other stations, so I'm not exactly sure what happened there. But overall, charging for this trip was very easy. And this is where my first pro comes in, is the trip home. Now, this entire weekend, we drove about 650 plus miles round trip. So the vehicle was driven. I would say we stopped maybe about 4 or 5 times throughout this trip to charge. And every time we stopped at an Electrify America charging station. But the trip back today was super easy because the weather was between 65 to 70 degrees. I could drive with the windows down. I didn't have to rely on heat or AC. And I was able to just enjoy the trip because it was not windy, it was not rainy, it was just a beautiful drive home. And the Bolt handled immaculately today. Very, very impressed with it. Another thing that is a pro of this weekend is that I did get a chance to have a learning opportunity. As a human and as someone who loves to educate people, I always open a door to learning something myself. Life is too short not to learn something, and the fact that I got a chance to learn about overcurrent and electrical engineering terminology like that, and just more EV charging, things, I could definitely utilize that to instruct everyday drivers so they are knowledgeable of that before they get into a situation like I got into. Fortunately, we had our portable level 1 charger, so it worked out for the better, but it was definitely a good learning opportunity, and I'm grateful for it. Another one pro of this trip, and this has nothing really to do with the Bolt. In fact, the Bolt actually probably saved our lives here, was the fact that we weren't expecting the temperature to drop the first night to 32 degrees and below. And all we had were hoodies and fleece blankets and long pants, and it was horrible. There was many times throughout the night that I would wake up and I could not feel my feet. I definitely thought at one point that I was not going to make it through the night. I was that cold. And the first thing I did when I realized that we were going numb is let's get in the Bolt, blast the heat, and let's sleep in there. And honestly, it was very comfortable. Fold the seats down and just blast the heat and fell asleep. So I am grateful that we had the Bolt available to do that. But yes, if you're going camping, always be prepared. One other thing I want to mention in terms of a pro is that we did get a chance to see a brand new 2022 Bolt EV, the total redesign of the vehicle. And if you have not had a chance to go see one in person, I absolutely recommend it because the interior is a complete overhaul. I mean, like, the seats are 1,000 times better. The materials are all soft touch, and it just feels like an overall well done and well thought out vehicle. I'm not saying the 2021s and below Bolt or before Bolts are, not well thought out, but the new ones are definitely an upgrade, and I recommend checking them out because I honestly wish that I would have waited. And now the one thing that I kind of want to wrap everything up in this entire trip, because I know it was very all over the place, there was definitely some things that I should have recorded that I did not, is that this entire trip is a learning opportunity. I think if we had an electric vehicle that could do more than 238 miles on a full state of charge, it probably would have been a more comfortable drive going up the first time when it was windy and rainy. But I definitely think that is where the trip could have been improved. But overall, the weekend was fantastic. And as I mentioned, the Bolt did fantastic driving home. No overheating issues. It charged great. And it was just a lot of fun to drive. I love how that car handles. And it's a blast. Well, anyways, guys, that's going to be it. I apologize for the bad lighting. I'm sure it's going to look fantastic. But like I mentioned, I want to be honest and genuine with everybody throughout my videos, and this was my experience, and having an electric vehicle as a daily driver is a blast, and it's definitely somewhat of a fun challenge when you are going on road trips. But the thing is that we did it and we accomplished this, and I would do it again in a heartbeat. But now that I know, I'll be prepared. So if you like this video, make sure you like and share with your friends. And if you haven't yet, please consider subscribing to the Everyday EV YouTube channel. I'm definitely grateful for every subscriber, so thank you so much. And as always, take care, stay safe, and make every day electrifying. I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.